Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin.
And we are doing radio voices today.
Exactly. We just started a talk show, didn't you know?
Here on NPR. No. This is... That's a joke. I love NPR. They're great.
It's throwback to Hammond's radio announcer voice in every Top Gear episode. That's not what we're doing today.
No, we are here to talk about the cars that we drove today. And believe it or not, they're cars that we've driven before.
Many times.
Like a lot.
Like many thousands of miles.
Yeah, like I put 40,000 on mine.
And I've put around 35,000 on mine.
Yeah. We're talking about a 2016 Fiesta ST and a 1988 Saab 900 Turbo SPG. We drove our own cars today on Antelope Island. We don't get into the actual reviews too much on this podcast episode, but we
ramble on.
I'm recording this intro after the fact, so my brain is kind of fucking dead. So let's just get into the episode.
Let's do it. Sometimes you need multiple tries at something.
Take two.
Oh, darn. Yeah, like that, too.
No. One of us at a time, Justin. One of us at a time. There's your sink. There it is.
Good thing we don't need to sync this.
No, we don't.
But I can quickly just...
Okay.
Lovely.
Great. Take two.
Yeah, frosty beverage. Just like the day. It was very frosty.
It was a very fucking frosty day. It's nice to be warm and indoors.
And in a nice comfy chair. And
yeah. Well, it's interesting because it was warm and sunny. Well, not warm. Sorry. It was sunny.
I was going to say, are you mixing up days?
Yes. It was a cold day in the sun, as it were. But the reflection of the snow kind of acted like a bounce card for the face.
Yeah.
When I get home, I am gonna put on some after sun cream. Mm-hmm. Actually, working at the flower shop, my boss gifted me a bottle. I think it's from a testing thing.
Yeah.
We were testing products for a kit that we were putting together, I think.
Okay.
And so yeah, it smells nice and it's good for it's not like aloe vera, but it's good for if you've been outside in the sun all day, to kind of try to heal and recover a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because the sun, even if you don't get sunburned, does, do a number.
It does. It definitely does. I haven't seen my face. Am I burned?
No.
Okay, that's good. I tried to somewhat stay out of the sun for when I didn't absolutely need to be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we were... Well, it's got to be a pretty good reason why we would be outside in 25 degrees for, basically the entire day. And that was because we were filming a thing. We
were filming our own cars for not the first time, but also very not common. We don't usually film our own cars.
I mean, I would say it's not the first attempt at filming our own cars, but this is going to be the first execution of filming my own car.
This will be the first product that will be released.
There we go. Yeah, we'll probably actually steal some footage from last year when we tried to do this same thing, at least with my car. But yeah, for those that either don't know me or are somehow not yet sick and tired of me talking about a Fiesta, I drive a 2016 Fiesta ST. It's stock power, stock suspension, just wheels, tires, a light braking mod with being, steel braided lines, some .4 fluid, which it actually comes with from the factory.
Nice.
And a Mishimoto radiator and a couple of things done before me, being an MBRP catback exhaust, a throttle pedal spacer, which is very handy, and a sound composer delete, which people think is a blow-off valve, which isn't.
And I have kind of a companion that was shot at the same time as this, which is my 1988 Saab 900 SPG, the car I've owned the longest. That has been was my daily for many years. I bought it in Boston, drove it across the country, and it was kind of just long time coming for us to do a video featuring it, and we may do more Saab things in the future that'll be more in depth than this. These are just kind of quick blast little types of things. But yeah, my car is 340-ish thousand miles. I don't really know exactly.
Unopened engine.
Unopened, well, not exactly. Unopened bottom end and unreplaced turbo. It's had 2 head gaskets, but those are common in those cars.
I would say the bottom end is, yeah. I mean, I would call that an unopened engine.
Yeah, so it's had 2 head gaskets and a transmission, but the turbo and the bottom end, pistons, crankshaft, all that is all original to the car.
Right.
Never been repainted. Original windshield, just lots of miles and, just lots of character at this point with lots, peeling paint and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All the stuff that happens after.
Such is life with the 340,000 mile Saab.
Yeah. When clear coat was still a new thing in the automotive world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are going to be starting a new type of format coming into this new year, and we kind of figured that with your car having not been featured on a video yet, and my car also having not been featured on a video, what better way to
have you mentioned your
this?
car in video form? Like mentioned it before?
I don't know.
Because
actually.
I've talked about the Fiesta ST in reviews before. I even mentioned it, and the real thing that triggered my real desire to get this going again with reviewing our own cars is because I mentioned it in the NSX video when I started to tear up a bit, and I said, I haven't done a review of my own car, and I'm sorry about that. And so I figured it would be in our better interest to get our own cars done. So
I actually don't think I might have mentioned it once, but it wasn't like a specific point. It might have just been mentioned in passing in a review. I haven't actually made a point about it. I really don't think, because there's been nothing to compare it to, really.
Yeah.
Get the Saab.
I mean, it compares to a Fiesta ST pretty well, I think, with it being a gray front-wheel drive, turbocharged 1.6 liter hatchback.
Yeah.
With 4 wheels.
Yeah, with 4 wheels, yes. And ironically, the same bolt pattern.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting that. Like, that they do. Ironically, these 2 cars that are almost 30 years apart share the same bolt pattern for the wheels. And there still needs to be a day where we do a wheel swap.
4x108. It's Fiesta, not just the ST, but the Fiesta platform. It is, I want to say first generation Focuses too.
Yes.
I think. Probably.
I think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if they took the same hub design and just said copy paste. So it's that, it's your Saab 900, and it's Fox Body Mustangs.
Yeah. The 4on108 brigade.
Yeah, there's not a lot of great options. It wasn't a Fox Body wheel that I sent you. What did I send you like a week or so ago?
I'm pretty sure that was a Fox Body.
Maybe it was a Fox Body. It was this Fiesta with this. Were they 16s?
Yeah, they were 16s.
Yeah, 16-inch Fox Body wheels with tires. It looked oddly satisfying.
Yeah.
There are some SVT wheels from the first gen, Focus that people run. Those are fine. There's another early Focus wheel that I don't actually think looks that great, and people do it anyway. Some people run it as a winter wheel.
It's almost like probably like
it's a 5-spoke of some kind, but it's not the SVT 5-spoke. It's something else.
Gotcha.
It's a little jelly belly.
Interesting.
It's weird. I'm not into it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the design of the car really that much. I mean, the car is kind of a jelly bean, but like not actually a jelly bean from like, a 1999 Taurus.
It's not the curvy Ford era. Like, your car does have angles, even though it is a jelly bean.
Oh, yeah. A rectangle was used at some point. Yes. Or, I mean, a ruler. But
yeah, a ruler and a protractor.
Yes.
Let's make this angle.
Yes, exactly. But, yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Chandler. A robed up Chandler entered the chat
and then quickly left. So anyways, we decided to brave the cold and we do a prototype effectively of the new format.
Yeah, we were about to go into East Canyon where the weather this morning read -6 and then said feels like -24.
And we said feels like fuck that.
Yeah, fuck to the no. So we changed course and decided to film it out in Justin's backyard at Antelope Island, where it was actually really lovely.
Which is rare. Antelope used to be lovely about 3 to 4 years ago, and then everybody discovered it in COVID.
You know what's weird?
Yes.
This March will be 5-year anniversary of you and I starting to do this.
Wow. I just can't believe it's
Where's
been 5
the
years.
mic drop?
I know. I just can't believe it's been 5 years since I had my Stinger. Like, since I bought it, I mean. Like, once that happens, it'll be 5 years.
Yep.
Crazy. But yeah, like back then, Antelope was a relatively dead, very good place to go to have some good, safe hooning happen.
Clean family fun.
Yeah, exactly. In an environment that was very controllable. And the Stinger, all of the update videos we filmed, I think were all on Antelope in one form or another. I know one was in like the parking lot outside of Antelope. We parked.
Well, so there's the very first video.
Yep.
And then we did a 10,000 mile update video.
Yeah, I think we either did one or two updates. I actually don't remember.
Is there a 20,000?
I know we tried to film one, but because then the 30,000 mile update was my 0 to 168 run in Mexico, allegedly.
Totally in Mexico. Definitely not on the Antelope Island Causeway.
Not at all.
Nope.
No.
What's statute of limitations in Utah?
I don't know, but it's just so weird that there happens to be an exact replica of the Antelope Island Causeway in Mexico.
There's a really long and straight 7-mile combined with a couple of dogleg kinks in near Cabo San Lucas.
Exactly. Yeah. So we we filmed there before, and at actually Antelope Island. Both in Mexico and Antelope Island, both of them.
Yep. Yep.
And even 2019, I think. Did we even visit it in 2019?
Yeah, with Jaden's car.
True, and even then it was good.
Jaden's Mazda 6 Turbo, and we filmed Alan's Suzuki Swift Sport.
Yep.
Out there. And then in 2020, we filmed the Fiat 124s.
And I forgot, we actually did, which I'm pulling up right now to make sure, the video that really nobody watched was also 2019, which was the Roush Mustang. 139 views.
Yeah, which I find it interesting that it went the way that it did.
Yep.
Because we were trying to film I don't know, like a one punch, back and forth kind of thing.
Yep.
Because I had traveled to Michigan for a family vacation. You're like, I'm going to film a review without you.
And then you ended up being there anyways.
And then I dropped in at the end. But yeah, because that's when I filmed a Trailblazer SS, which how many views is that at now?
That one, which I believe was just before this one.
It's in the double-digit thousands for sure.
Yes, I think so.
Probably low double digits.
That was me buying the Tacoma. There he goes. 12,000.
Okay.
Yep.
But then I also filmed an AMC Eagle,
which is at 1,500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Either way, both of them at a minimum 10 times the amount of response that I got.
Yeah.
But past that, I think the next thing after the Fiats that we filmed there was Porsches. And that was where we started to see some problems.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know what we're doing wrong exactly. When we film features that involve Porsches, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating on my end because I've been dreaming of 964s since I was about 10 years old.
Yeah, apparently for some reason we have a Porsche curse. The Rossian curse was the GoPros, which seems to have mostly been broken despite the small little troubles we had today.
You know what? The ones today though, okay, so the thing about the GoPro curses was mostly unexplainable because there's GoPro and audio problems that we had.
Yep. And they both would just randomly appear.
Today, we had GoPros mounted externally when it was earlier in the day, it was about 19 to 20 degrees before wind chill, and then driving at excessive speeds, one might say.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you were alluding to earlier with today being a prototype kind of day, we're affixing to film weekly content. So the way that I intend to go about doing that, best case scenario, is film 4/5 cars, which
we'll see.
It's going to be a lot, but film all the cars for the month in one day, and then get them gradually edited, but scheduled out to then drop on a Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
And so today was a test run, filming only 2 cars, and maybe I'll just take 2 Sundays a month instead of 1 Sunday. Mm-hmm. Take 2 Sundays a month, at least from the get-go.
Yeah.
Just so I can film 2 cars in a day and know that I have like everything down.
Yeah, because overall, so there was basically 2 prototypes. Number 1 was filming that, and number 2 was filming on Antelope in the winter.
Yeah. I've been on Antelope Island in the winter. I've the year before, my parents and I did a hike, not on Fairy Peak, but it's like the shorter one that's like right next to it.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't like that long or difficult of a hike, but still very lovely. Not nearly as white. It was actually mostly brown when 2020, it was towards the end of 2020.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we did not get much snow that year at all on Christmas.
I have photos from it. It was pretty fucking brown.
This year, it looks like we were driving through fucking Norway or, Scandinavia.
Alaska.
Yeah. It's just completely
Or
covered.
as you put it earlier, another fucking planet.
Yeah, looking up, especially with just some of the scattered light coming through, like the slight smog and everything, it looked like what you would picture Pluto to be in a way, like really icy, crazy planet that you're just happen to be driving next to.
I wish we captured Frary.
Yeah.
We never really captured Frary today.
True.
Most of our time was spent on the island, or sorry, not on the island, duh. But at the beach.
Yeah.
Which is, not exactly what one would expect to do on a cold December day in Utah, but we were at the beach. And, but yeah, we filmed your car and my car all in the same day. We got follow footage, we got flybys, we got in-car, we got makeshift interior and exterior beauty.
Yeah, with the exception of the in-car, everything else was kind of a little new. Like, so with follow footage, we had 2 GoPro. That was the ice or the wind chill you mentioned earlier with the GoPros. Mm-hmm. We had a car in front and then the car being filmed behind it to the right at like a
whether
45
it was
degree.
the Saab or the Fiesta, they were interchangeable.
Yep, and so the car in front would have 2 GoPros mounted to it, one straight back and one at a 45-degree angle in the right rear, so that we could film the other car. And that's something we have never done before, because usually we have Gavin in the back of said camera car recording with
generally
a
a Toyota Sequoia or a Subaru product of some kind.
Yep. And so we're trying to think of new ways to where, like, if somebody had to go run and gun on their own or with one other person maximum, they could do it. Because to do follow footage,
I'll probably have Jaden with me or something. Yeah. Like I'll have either Chen or Jaden come along with me as an assistant on these. I can't do this all myself unless if I do bring my car and the other owner is there.
Yep.
Then we can like do a thing, which isn't necessarily out of the question.
It just depends,
Yeah, for sure.
And really you could do all of it on your own except for that portion, because with that follow footage you need 2 people, 1 for each car.
Right.
Our traditional follow footage you need 3.
Yeah.
One piloting the star car on camera, then you need a person driving the camera car, and then Gavin in the back filming out of the camera car.
Right.
So this is just eliminating one cog in that to make it super streamlined. And you obviously lose a little bit of quality doing that, but that's how you chopping those edges and just kind of massaging them is how you get to be able to do easy weekly content.
Exactly. And you just put it correctly. Yeah, that is the way that you would get easy, quick content, because this way, if we can film 3 cars in a day, we've never done that.
No.
But if we can knock out, especially in the summertime when like we have a lot more light and we can film until like 9 p.m.
Yep.
Because like it's been dark for a while and it's not even 7 o'clock right now.
Exactly.
So if there is a way for us to film for much, much longer, and we can knock out like 4 cars in a day.
There you go. You got a month's worth of content, bud.
Yep.
And to be clear, the thing is, part of our reason for doing this is, number one, we want to make some more content for the channel, so it's not just dead for 3 months and then we drop a big banger. But
because we just did that and 300 to 500 people watched it.
Yep. But the second part of this is, I almost, even though we haven't totally vocalized this between each other, like almost a feeling of like we can do it a little better, even though it is quick content. Because like a lot of quick content can be sometimes a little shit, and not the big guys. A lot of the big guys have their stuff down pat, like Smoking Tire and One Takes and stuff like that. Like even though it's quick content, it's pretty good. But a lot of other people that try to do quick content, it's not really. It ends up not being that interesting because they end up ditching almost every aspect of what makes our long content good. So trying to keep like a little bit of beauty, a little bit of follow footage and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and what also ends up happening is the presenter in that scenario generally doesn't like everything that they talk about is pretty skin deep. They never dip below the surface and like get to the crux of like why something is the way that it is or why they feel that way about something or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to move on to the next thing. So in order for us to keep cranking out more content while also not burning ourselves out.
Yep.
Because guess what? I get to do that every day now as a content creator for an overlanding company.
Yeah, you really are swamped in it now.
Dude, this is the most amount of content I've ever put out. Ever. Like I'm pushing out at minimum an Instagram post, a video, a reel, and a story every day.
And you're only 2 weeks in.
Yeah, and like it's fine. Like the first week was like really fucking stressful. I was like, how the fuck am I gonna do this?
Yep.
And like the second week, like the start of the second week, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we're good.
We got it.
And like my bosses are stoked on what I'm putting out, so like that's fine. But enough about that.
Yeah.
You were going on a tangent.
No, so like we're trying to both help bolster our channel and get ourselves at least a little bit into the algorithm, even though we're not going to ever be the perfect algorithm child. No. And also try to do like weekly content our own way, like still having some of those pieces that make our like long form content good. Again, such as follow footage, which is the easiest thing to ditch, the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Because
actually, drone is the lowest hanging fruit because we didn't even do that today.
True. Yeah. So
we could have.
We could have. We actually might have had time, although Antelope has some odd drone restrictions depending on where you're at.
Right.
But those two are the lowest hanging fruit. That are the first to go when you're trying to make something faster because they both take multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do it in a way that you can still have another person there and get it done quickly with just some quick walk around the car, do some beauty footage, a couple little flybys, and then have a car in front following with GoPros, with another car following it with GoPros mounted on the first car, like you can basically get a small version of what we do on each of the big films done.
But also doing weekly content in the way, like in this kind of more cut down manner.
Yep.
It becomes its own thing and it doesn't like sell our big videos short.
Exactly.
And the other thing that I also wanted to bring up too is whoever is doing the reviewing, and most of the time because of time constraints and all that stuff will likely be me.
Yeah.
Because I am the captain of the sinking ship.
Congratulations. Here's the keys, son. Have fun.
Exactly. But it allows the person who's doing the driving and the presenting and the reviewing a larger palette and a deeper palette of experiences to call back on. So for when we do other bigger reviews or something, you're coming from a more informed place rather than just a first impression of this brand new thing,
Oh yeah, I was actually thinking like if you thought of a theoretical review, we could do more long form where it's like new Civic Type R, new GR Corolla, like get like a few really new hot hatches together. You could then,
you know somebody?
I wish, but you could then look back and be like, oh yeah, we've driven other hot hatches that aren't in this review, but like I can actually pull some data from that mentally.
And you know what we can also do too?
What's that?
Throw in B-roll of those videos and throw in a hyperlink and tell people to go watch the shit.
Exactly. Content stacking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big old sandwich.
Double dipping.
Mm-hmm.
Double French dipping.
Might as well. I mean,
Giggity.
Hell, we just got to do that a shit ton on Death Cars by double dipping into multiple Rossian shoots.
We did do that.
That never made the light of day.
We did it on that. We honestly did a lot on NSXs too.
Yep.
Because we pulled from 992 Carrera.
Mm-hmm.
We pulled from Stinger GT.
Mm-hmm.
We pulled...
I mentioned the Ross. I think we pulled Rossian even on that.
I think we did.
Which was prior to the Death Car shoot.
Yeah.
And
Death Cars, for those that don't know, is the Rossian Q1 versus Porsche 930 backdate turbo Franken car thing.
Yes. That.
Yes.
And so that this will also allow us to do that. It just allows us overall a massive gain, because that's what sucks about like the YouTube game, is that if you want to do longer form stuff like us, it generally doesn't do well. The Audi video, which we don't exactly know why, ended up kind of finding its own little tunnel.
We didn't plan it, but in retrospect, I could probably explain it.
Yeah.
Because it was content for a well-known automaker that produced a type of engine that is well respected in a lot of circles, is not made anymore, and because it lacks the current push of turbos and technology.
Yep.
There's a lot more emotion in how those engines drive, and because that there was a 4.2 in the R8, and the RS4 has such a cult following. The D2 S8 was in Ronin.
Yep.
And the RS5 was recent enough. Like, enough of the people that are really into those cars are around, and there's enough information on those cars around, unlike the minis, where it's like, fuck, we had to go diving. You had to go diving.
I dove headfirst. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But I think also adding to that, there wasn't really much done on those cars. Like,
I was about to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the highest viewed 4.2 Audi related content had like maybe 60,000 views, maybe 30K.
Yeah, and
like a lot of it was like rebuilding stuff or building things.
Yeah,
so it was all about maintenance.
Yeah,
not like history or storytelling or any of that, impressions or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, most of it was maintenance or like you said, RS4 or R8 related, because those are the two Halo cars out of that lineup that are really stood out. And not much else was really ever made. Like, I think when I initially had the idea and we were talking on the phone, and I did some research that night, and I think I found just a few videos. Like, I found like a video on the design, but not actually the history of the 4.2. So somebody kind of tearing down the RS4 motor. Or then I found another one, like I'd find bits and pieces of basically what our total idea was, but no cohesive actual product.
And
that
we
was a
definitely
single
rolled
entity.
the dice on that too.
Oh yeah, that was as we've talked about before, that was by miles the hugest thing we had ever done.
It's probably the biggest thing we will ever do.
For a while, yeah. For unless we got much bigger than we are now.
Yeah. I just gotta win the lottery first.
Yeah. We just need a full film crew.
Uh-huh.
But that was kind of a combination of luck and timing with how that whole video ended up doing so well. Mm-hmm. We thought that maybe that might continue. It kind of didn't. We've had a couple of the videos that have done well, like R32s have done fairly well for what they are.
Considering our following, yeah.
Minis have done okay, but Porsche...
That took a while.
Yeah, Porsche, Death Car, and NSXs have kind of died.
NSXs are on par, if not a little ahead of our 32s.
I don't think so. So
it's within 1,000 views.
Oh yeah, okay. So 4.6 thousand on NSXs, 10,000 on R32.
The fuck?
Yep.
When did that happen? I thought it was still at like $5,000 or $6,000.
No, I mean it's been going.
Is that 10K?
10.2. Yep.
What the
Yeah, and it's a pretty consistent line, so it's just been slowly happening.
Yeah.
But that formula sadly hasn't fully replicated because it's just not what the algorithm is going to feed on. And actually, despite the fact
and we're not at the the level of production that we are at is impressive for the fact that it's just run by two people.
Yep.
But it's not Jason Camisa and what's his fucking name? Anthony Esposito.
Yeah.
He's like the real creative director and, camera and graphic, mastermind behind all of that stuff. Well, Minis is at 8K right now.
Okay, so it's gotten up as well.
Yeah.
The two that have really died are Death Cars and Porsches.
NSXs, that's been around for half as long as the R32s.
Yeah, so it may very well continue the exact same trend, roughly speaking.
Yeah.
But we're in the scope of trying to find better things to do. That really these weekly contents is really what we need to do to help everything, because we will continue to do these larger films.
Yeah.
But we need companionship to that to just help out growing the brand and the videos and everything else, and growing ourselves, our palette, like you mentioned earlier, and all of the above, because sadly, the algorithm actually is almost too good at its job in a way, even though we joke about the plunger we have on the table representing the algorithm.
Yeah.
Where it is very good at recommending people what they want to see. But there's like several layers to that cake of how somebody gets to a recommended video, and all the right ingredients have to be there for that person to get to it. And one of them is that content creator being relatively regular enough for the algorithm to even be able to see it.
True. I think we had better networking as well with the Audis.
Yes.
I posted that video in an Audi 4.2 group that people were pretty like fanatical about, and they were pretty into it.
Yeah.
But like when we post on like Utah Association of Euros, like nobody gives a shit. Park City Car Club, nobody gives a shit. I'm not connected really with like a lot of like Japanese clubs or anything. So it's just it's on the owners to, if they want to share it, great.
Yeah.
And if it gets networked around and whatever. I think that played a huge part of it. I got drunk one night and I commented on Haggerty's video about a 4.2 swapped UR Quattro.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might have had something to do with it too.
And I'm in a bunch of Audi specific groups and even a couple of 4.2 groups myself. So like we had a better networking pool, both size wise and just us being in groups to be able to blast the Audi video
I think that was definitely part of it. I kind of kept posting about it on my Instagram while it was happening.
Yep.
And I kept posting about the video after it was done. Part of it was like, we can't believe it has as many views. Like, I don't know if that helps at all. I don't know.
Who knows? But either way, like, look forward to that, like, in the next little while.
It also comes down to thumbnail, too.
Yes.
Because we had an empty fucking warehouse or garage where a mechanic, a speed shop, Works 45, is now there now. And they work on, cup cars, and they had a Ferrari F40 in there this past year. They just got another car that...
Yep, another car.
If you want to see what I'm on about, make sure you follow gp.media on Instagram, because I'm going to be shooting something quite special. But yeah, so... Sorry, because this is like our round 2 of the podcast tonight, I'm kind of like blanking on like how to move on next.
No, you're good. Basically what I was going to move on to is that like we'll be doing that stuff, but like we got to sit there and trial run both a new style of content from a shooting perspective on our own cars at a location we've shot at before, but just never in the dead of winter.
And it's also our own cars in a place that was near to, it was near to you. It wasn't near to me, but it was near to you. So like we were close to civilization.
And we didn't have to commute an hour to get to it.
We didn't have to commute. No, I had to commute 40 minutes, but it's better than nothing.
Would have been better than an hour and 40.
Yeah,
because that's what it would have been if we went out to East Canyon.
Yeah. But what I wanted to get to, now I lost it.
Gotcha. Well, either way.
Sorry. We were doing it in our own cars on our own terms. We didn't have to answer to anybody.
Yes.
That was the other thing that was nice, because I could just drive it to your place, get your car with you, get our shit together, pack out to the island, and just start working. And if we did have an issue of some kind, we could be like, okay, we'll just like wait for his battery to charge or something. Or we'll make use of the time and charge the battery, en route to this other place. And if we have battery, then we'll just use it. If we don't, then we'll keep waiting.
Exactly.
It was pretty, considering the issues that we did have, pretty low stress.
Yeah, and it's in many other ways, we already know our cars too. So there's nothing to learn really necessarily. It's more, what do I say?
Oh, that's true. Because when we do have other people's cars, we have to spend part of the day not just figuring out what to say, but extrapolating info from the car and see like how it drives. And, like that was the rough thing about the Type S.
Yes.
Because it was such a vague car compared to the cars that we had driven that week, and compared to enthusiast cars in general. Like, do I say it's boringly fast?
It's that bad combination of like it's vague and it's stupid fast,
dumb fast,
like dummy.
Also, if you're judging by the resale value of it, fucking expensive. If you're judging purely on resale, that's the most expensive car we've ever driven.
Yes, exactly. Because we even mentioned in there, like at the time that we filmed that, we found a few that were sale for almost $400,000.
Oh no, there was one that was $400,000.
Yeah, and I mean they're all done now. In fact, I think the last one rolled off the production line like last week or something like that, which is crazy. Like the NSX as we know it is done.
As we know it, we'll see if there's another chapter to it.
Yeah.
That will be interesting if they do go, full electric and do something like that, make it 1,200 horsepower.
I could kind of see it because they did. In fact, I believe one of the first podcasts on our new format after we got done filming, I even found an article that was from the CEO of Acura North America saying, like, there will be another NSX pretty confidently. He didn't specify anything detail or timeline wise, which means it could be in 5 years, could be in 20 years, could be whatever.
I mean, knowing their timeline and how long it takes to get fucking cars out, it could be 20 years.
It could be.
It could be 20 years, $500,000 and make, 900 horsepower all wheel drive.
Yeah, like individual electric motors. Who knows what?
Who knows?
Nobody does. But anyway, so we didn't have to spend time learning the two cars on the island like we do with almost everything else.
Yeah, because you've driven your car for 7 years. I've driven my car for 2.5.
Yep. And not only that, but
how many miles have you put on that car?
Actually, I can address a little bit of that story here because I realized on our round 1 of doing this podcast, which, by the way, there was a little error. So that's why we're redoing this when Gavin mentioned round 2 of this.
Yeah.
I believe from my records, I've put somewhere in the realm of about 35 to 40,000 miles on that car.
So I put more miles on my car than you put on that car. And I've owned mine for a third of what you've owned yours for. Yes.
So part of that is because I daily drove that car only up until about mid. So actually, I daily drove it for more than a full year. I kind of preferred to drive that over my Audi S6. I had a C5 2003 Audi S6 wagon. And I kind of preferred to daily the Saab in most cases just because it was kind of fun.
Sure.
And my commute to work was only 3 miles and I could just hop over and whatnot. During that time was when I got the most mileage up until probably late 2016, early 2017, when I at that point had 3 cars to spread mileage between: the C5 S6, my C4 URS6, and the Saab. The Saab then went down after a little incident I had, misjudging a couple corners, and crashed into a curb and wrecked a wheel, steering rack. So it was down for like 4 months for that.
Right.
And then after that, when I moved out here to this house and all the cars came with, the UR was down permanently, and my daily was the C5 S6, and that's when I started working for the trucking company. So I was just dailying the C5 S6 because it was easy.
Until you got hopped into a Stinger GT.
And then I still daily that. So really, it was the first 2 years I owned that car was when probably about 25 to 30,000 of those miles got put on it.
Yeah.
After that, I had so many other options, or was too busy. Like I needed,
the car was down, or other options,
or I had other options, or like it was easier to hop in the Stinger or the C5 S6.
Sure.
But the reason I say that I don't know how many miles I've put on it is because I don't know how many miles the car technically has.
Right.
So in 2001, and I even have a paper stating this from the sale of owner number. I keep missing this up. I'm actually the 4th owner. I keep saying 3rd, but I'm actually the 4th because the first owner was only a few years. Then it was the second owner that owned it from basically 1991 through 2001. Then I bought it from the dude that bought it in 2001. But anyways, I have a record from second to third owner saying that, by the way, I'm selling this car. The odometer's been broken for 2 years already, and it's at 180 some odd thousand miles already in 2001.
Yeah.
And he kept, the guy I bought it from kept extremely detailed records, totaling mileage based on GPS calculation and a few other different things. So that I have a rough idea that the car has somewhere between 340 and 350,000 miles on it. I also use a GPS, and I've replaced the gauge cluster, so it does work now.
Oh.
So, like, it counts miles now, but obviously that number that was on that gauge cluster has no relevance to what it was. It's just I now know how many miles I've put on it since I've put that gauge cluster in.
Okay.
Which was about 20,000 miles ago. So, that's leading up to that is just... I've put a good amount of miles on it, but like not nearly as many condensed wise as you put it on yours, just because.
Well, because my Fiesta is my only car. I mean, okay, so I bought my car May of 2020, which, as it turns out, is a great fucking time to buy a car.
Yeah.
If you're not looking at like high grade collector cars, at least. And I bought mine from a dealership that needed a sale, and I needed a car, and so Fiesta ST. I bought it in 2020. As the 2016 model year car with 23,000 miles on it. for 16 grand.
Yep. And then also just got a warranty and other things just to be smart.
Yeah, with the warranty and everything out the door was like 24 grand.
Yeah.
Which, okay, warranty and peace of mind, like, okay, like that's fine. Still a ride of a car for that money. And yeah, 23K on the clock when I got it, and today I'm 41K.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, a good amount of miles.
No. Wait, did I just say 41?
You said 41.
No, I meant 64. So I put 41,000 miles on it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, whenever I've been driving my car since, May of 2020, it's the things that I've driven, have either been my car
Yep.
or the flower van, which when I left Native Flower Company had 222,000 miles on it. I put 160,000 of those miles on it in 4 years.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So 40K a year on that, plus another 40K in 2.5 years on my car. And then what other cars I've driven for articles or for review on camera. So like I didn't drive my car for 3 days when I had an RS6. I didn't drive it for a week when I had an E90 manual M3. I didn't drive it for a week when I had a Lotus Elise.
And it's funny, I think, when you started picking up with how many miles you were putting on cars was actually after I tailed off. Because by 2018-19, I was mostly out of trucking and wasn't putting nearly the miles I used to on the Stinger or the Audi or
There's
anything.
like a 6-month gap where we did overlap, and then after that, because I started in June of 2018 at the shop.
And then I trailed off after that because prior to that, like it would have been, I was driving commercially. So it was, obviously when you're driving every day and long distance, not around town, it's just going to pile up like crazy.
It's interesting though, because I find driving around town, driving in circles to be way more taxing.
Oh yeah.
On you.
Uh-huh.
And, if you're doing 15 to 20 deliveries in a day, but you only do 150 to 180 miles, is way more taxing to me than doing 700 miles.
Completely agree. You actually, if you explained to somebody that scenario and then explained like what I used to do all the time, which is to Boise and back in one day, everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Boise and back in one day. I'm like, oh, it's a breeze. It's so easy. Stupid easy. I don't even spend 20 minutes in Boise and I'm already turned around.
Yeah.
So easy.
Did I tell you that I did a Logan delivery?
Really?
Yeah, it was one of my last deliveries I ever did at Native Flower Company.
All the way up to Logan.
So it kind of been a joke for a couple of years because there was somebody that asked for flowers in Logan, and Pam was like, "Let me forward you to somebody that is up there, so we don't have to." But there's a company called Listman Studios. They are an interior design company that we do weekly. I shouldn't say we. I don't fucking work there anymore. I have to stop myself from saying that. But Native Flower Company does weekly contracted, basically swap out flowers every week kind of thing for their main office, which is in Sandy. But every holiday season, they send out I think it's over 100 arrangements to top clients and I guess employees and like that kind of thing. But these people are in Utah County, Summit County, Wasatch County, Davis County, and apparently up in Logan too, because there was somebody that was up in Logan. And this is a huge order for Pam to take on, and we have to take on more employees and like that kind of thing to make this all happen. Yeah. So it was towards the end of this like week-long thing with Listman, and Pam, my old boss, was like, "Okay, Gavin, get ready." I'm like, "Oh God." She's like, "We have one going to Logan." I'm like, "Get out of town."
Nice.
What? So, never did a delivery up to Logan, and so that was up at Hyde Park.
Yep.
So technically a little bit north of Logan.
Nice.
And it was like one of the first snowstorms that we actually had this year, so it was like kind of stressful on the way back. But that was also a big day of driving for me, because I also have to do a bunch of other shit, around town after that.
Yep.
I'm rambling about things.
Wow,
we've
swapped places.
How the turntables?
No, I mean it's all good. We've kind of got there from a couple different
It's
tangents.
weird to think though that I put more miles on my Fiesta in 2.5 years than you've put on your Saab in 7.
Yeah.
But I mean, but once you like break it down, it makes some sense, and hopefully, you pass me.
Yeah, it's possible. I realistically will start driving the Saab more as it's never really had problems per se, but it's always had little things. Again, it's a car with 340 some odd thousand miles. That's 30 plus years
You're kind of
old.
allowed to do anything you want as a car.
Yeah.
You can kind of get away with anything at that point.
For a while, I thought its turbocharger was bad. It turned out it was a small electrical gremlin on the wastegate actuator valve that I fixed.
Yeah.
And there was that. Those cars in particular, because of the way the engine is designed, most of the force of the engine goes on the front engine mount. It has 3. It has one on the left, one on the right, and then one on the very front. And those front engine mounts, I kept tearing them out because they're not available. And so you have to use cheap shit aftermarket ones. And I finally spent the money on a custom billet one that...
Billet?
Billet, yes. But custom...
Don't try to up fancy your fucking engine mount. Fuck out of here.
Anyways, a custom billet one that really should not have any need for replacing. And it's about 50% of the way to a solid mount. So that fixed that problem. Plus, I got the wheels that I actually damaged in the accident I mentioned earlier. I finally got repaired, and I got a cheap set of snow tires. Because for the past 4 years, effectively, the Saab's been existing in this weird space where it did run, never had trouble starting, would always get me somewhere if I had no other means of transportation, but was running on very old tires on the 15-inch wheels. So it wasn't that great to drive. It, again, had the boost issue. It had the engine mount that I changed out 4 times because it just... Anyways.
So how long do you think this new one is going to last?
Theoretically, even if it doesn't last, quote unquote, the bushings internally are completely replaceable. So I don't even need to replace the mount itself.
That doesn't answer my question.
Or are you talking about the engine mount or that car?
Engine mount.
I mean, it really is rebuildable. So I don't envision having to replace the engine mount itself. I envision that those bushings should last 5-10 years. They're
okay.
Nice solid silicone bushings, and even then I can replace the bushings. I don't have to replace the whole mount.
Right.
So I really don't anticipate having problems. In fact, I anticipate the car going down for some much-needed rust surgery prior to ever needing to touch that mount.
Sure.
Because that really is where that car's coming to a head at this point is, again, like you said earlier, with that kind of age and mileage, it's allowed to have some problems. And one of its problems, now that I've solved all the other ones, is rust. The fenders are rusting. I've got a couple of small rust holes, nothing structural, but a couple body ones that are well hidden that need to be repaired, and are in places, fortunately, where they can easily be repaired. And the paint's been going since I bought it, but it's obviously gotten much worse in 7.5 years, especially because the first 3 of those was parked outside.
Sure.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. So, being that the car kind of existed in that limbo, I envision what's going to happen in the next year, as I'm probably going to drive it a pretty good amount over the next year, because I don't imagine having the money to do what that car needs for at least that amount.
Rust repair is fucking expensive.
Yes, for at least that amount of time. So I'll probably enjoy it in its current state for probably about a year and a half more. Mm-hmm. And then it'll probably go down for a year and a half or so. Get a full sweep of stuff. It's had an internal oil leak, nothing major, but just little seepage for the whole time I've owned it. It has that, and it needs some, pretty much all the rubber gone through. There's lots of little things. I mean, again, probably about 50% of the parts in that car are original.
Yeah.
It being that that's the case, it's okay, even if it's still working, it's time. It's kind of it needs a retirement phase.
Yeah.
All the rubber needs to be done. The body work needs to be done. The paint needs to be done. The turbo, even though it's still functioning, somehow after that amount of mileage, needs a rebuild. Go through and just do a clean slate.
Sure.
So I'll probably view this as we'll call it the second honeymoon phase of going through and having some fun with it before that happens.
Sure.
So it'll get driven more in the next year than it probably has been driven in the past 3 combined.
That's good.
Yeah. And then hopefully the Audi can follow suit at some point, but we'll see.
We'll see about that.
That car is eternal.
Don't count your eggs before they hatch.
That car is eternal damnation in car form.
Yep.
It being that I've had many experiences with other Audi 5 cylinders, and that car in particular has just decided to deny any normality that I've experienced with all the others. But anyways, yeah, it is a funny thing to think about that I, who traditionally has been a mileage whore, has put much less mileage on the Saab in all those years than you've put on yours.
Which is interesting, yeah. But I also intend to do a fair bit of driving this year. I'll probably get at least 1 or 2 Boise trips. We are recording this, the week before Christmas, and the second week of January, I'm going on a road trip with my girlfriend. We're gonna go down to LA and do a bunch of driving down there and kind of get away for a bit. We won't do just driving. We'll do other stuff too.
I mean, yes, I hope so.
Yeah. I'm already planning like hikes and shit.
Nice.
And Andrew and his girlfriend might join us later.
Nice. Okay.
We'll see. But yeah. So speak of the devils. Not the devil. She's not a devil. She's great.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah. Doesn't text me all day and then text me now.
Perfect timing.
Thanks, honey. Anyways, yeah, and what I kind of alluded to, my brain's a little fried, but I think what I alluded to in the video is that the Fiesta is going to undergo some changes this year. I'm not going to go into specifics, but I do want to throw a little bit more power at it. I'm not going like crazy stage 2 plus 69, 420, fucking 360 no scope horsepower at it. I'm maintaining my stock turbo. There is a fairly common turbo, what they call a big turbo upgrade, done through a company called Whoosh Motorsports. It's called an S280.
What a name.
Google him.
Whoosh Motorsports.
It's done by this guy, Ron Miller, I think. Yep, that's exactly it. That's how you spell it.
I love how it's all in lowercase too. That's kind of funny.
Hold on, that's the computer. That's not the website.
No, I know. Our poor old iMac is it's a little long in the tooth as far as loading actual websites.
Fine.
That's really funny.
Hold on. Let me pull up a computer from this decade. Whoosh Motorsports. Here we go.
Looks much better.
Yeah, looks like as it should.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, it looks like a proper website, not just a bunch of text.
Here.
Okay, there we go. So
you can dick around on it.
Gotcha.
Don't drop it. It's not mine.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so they offer,
a lot of 4 products. So Fiesta ST, Focus ST. I think there's Mustang stuff. Explorer ST. Ooh. But there's an S280 turbo is like the popular go-to, and Whoosh, I believe, makes a kit for it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm scrolling through the mountain of coilover options.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to do coilovers. I do want to do sway bars. So where the car is at right now, and I didn't really get into how it, like the actual dynamics on like that part of the review. A lot of my review had to do with ownership.
Yeah.
Which you and I kind of both did today. There will be a follow-up video for this that probably will be more dynamics based on a squigglier road that we can actually, or that I can actually push things on.
Yeah.
And that will probably be when I do a sway bar kit.
Yeah. I think
so the car right now for the summer is riding on Continental Extreme Contact Sports, which you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
And they are now at the level of tire, and I'm trying to keep everything, and let me know when you're done with that.
I'm good. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. The level of tires that we're at right now are kind of they're showcasing more of the weaknesses of my other components. So if I had better like body control, I could really plant the car, load it up real good and maintain even more speed in the corners.
Yeah.
Brakes, I think, might be another thing that are coming up. I might go to a more aggro pad. a more aggressive pad, and my rotors will eventually need to be replaced anyway. I did my pads and not my rotors this winter.
Yeah.
So, and I've never done that before, but my buddy Sasha said like, "Hey, I can get you pads for $70 and we can just send it." I'm like, cool. Done.
Yeah.
More power would be nice. There's a company that has done ECU tuning and upgrading for people at the O'Neill Rally program.
Oh, damn.
That also run Fiesta STs, and they also run base Fiestas, and they run like Hawkeye WRXs and stuff.
Nice.
They're a pretty reputable company too. So looking to get power from that sway bar, front and rear sway bars, intercooler.
Yeah.
Because summer is coming.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because what's the point in running more power if you can't keep it?
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I had more money, if I made more money, I would wrap it.
Yeah.
I think having a navy green, or not navy, but like an army green wrap
Would be pretty sweet.
with the gold wheels, like that would pop off. Like that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, and I think it's good you're not going to mess too much with the suspension because it just.
Oh, I'm not touching suspension aside from the sway bars.
Yeah, because realistically, it's honestly pretty good the way it is.
If there was a mod that I could do, and I'm sure I actually could do this, but if I could make it softer.
Yeah.
I'm like, this for the daily is a bit much.
Yeah.
But I think so. What I mentioned, I think on take 1 of the podcast, I don't think I mentioned it in the video, but I think this is going to be the last season, the last year of my Integrales.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because they're 17s, and those heavily contribute to the stiffness and the harshness of the ride. I haven't driven a Fiesta on 16s. I would quite like to. I know that with the stock brace, you can go down, depending on offset, to as low as 15s. So I'm running the Integrales with Blizzaks on right now because rally car, rally tires, snow. It's,
it's fun.
'Tis the season, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to run those. I'm going to keep my Extreme Contact Sports and because they're 17s and just burn those up. And while I'm burning those up, caught myself a set of 15-inch wheels for the wintertime and then buy Blizzaks. Or not Blizzaks, something else. I'm kind of done with Blizzaks.
Yeah.
And run those in the 2022 to 2023. Sorry, 2023 to 4 season.
Yep.
Through that winter. And then in 2024, get myself a nice set of something light, because I saw somebody on a scale with tires has a set of Integrales or Tarmacs weigh 47 pounds with wheels and tires.
Jeez. I mean, okay, about 15 pounds of that's probably tire or something like that. But still, that's quite heavy.
They look great, but
they are beefy.
So getting a set of something that weighs half that, because I know that decagrams and 16s, I think they weigh like 15 pounds a wheel.
Yeah.
Maybe 17 pounds a wheel max.
Yeah. That's a big difference.
Yeah. And so go down an inch on the diameter, go up an inch from stock, because they're 17 by 7s factory wheels. Mm-hmm. Integrales are 17 by 7.5. The decagrams that I'm thinking about doing are 16 by 8s.
Interesting. So you're going smaller wheel but wider.
I'm going pudgy.
Yes. Getting a little
more
chunky.
chode-like.
Getting a little chode in this house.
Yeah. Yeah, because they would be lighter weight. They would ride better, and they would offer more contact patch. I know I can run up to 225s on stock suspension before like really rubbing.
You sure you don't want to like borrow one of my set of Saab 15-inch by like 5.5 wheels?
I do, just for the meme, want to drive around on your 3 spokes.
Yeah, I know. It would be funny for the meme, not for nothing else.
Next time I'm up here, we should just do a test fit on one of the wheels and see if it sits.
Yeah, because I actually don't remember what the offset on those is, but I know it's not out of this world, either positive or negative. It's fairly normal.
On mine or yours?
Mine.
Okay.
Let's see.
Fuck, I can't remember. Are mine like 35? Are mine negative 35?
I think so.
Either like 35 or 41 or something.
Okay. Yeah, because I think mine are somewhere in that range as well. Because I also have to, my brakes are almost the exact same size as yours. Because I remember we looked that up, and that tells me that my wheels can't be that different as far as spec and whatnot. Because I know my car can fit 15s just like yours.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I do believe that they should be about the same. Negative 27. So they're
Mine aren't like that then.
Yeah.
Mine are 35 or 41.
Which means that mine are actually have a deeper poke, because the lower number means it's a little further out from the hub. So interesting. So mine would actually pudge out a little bit more on the outside.
That's what I would be worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because my wheels are pretty flat on the outside.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a lot of dish or dome.
Mine would be the equivalent of putting a 12 millimeter spacer on yours.
I mean, I'm down if you're down.
I'm down. I want to see a Fiesta ST on Saab Super Aeros. It'd be hilarious.
I want to see a Saab on fucking Integrales.
That, I don't even know if that would fit. My wheel wells are not that big.
I'm just saying.
Hey, we'll do it.
I'm just saying.
We'll do it and take some pictures. Because that'll be a funny sight. Because aren't Integrales from kind of that era of motorsport? I know they're older.
Yeah, they're late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean...
Look up the Lancia Delta Integrale.
I didn't... You know what's funny? I never made that connection.
Oh, I mentioned that in my review. Yeah, because my car is like a triple entendre. Because Fiesta was in rally.
Yeah.
Here, click the Martini one.
Yep. That... Interesting. Yes, I'm fine. Go. I love how it just asked me if it was safe to go to Wikipedia. Oh, great.
I don't know. Is it?
I'll just pull it up on my phone. Screw this.
Yeah. Anyways, Fiesta was a rally car. And also, Ken Block. The Integrale, the Lancia Delta Integrale, was a Group B rally car.
Yep.
And also, the Subaru Gold, like the wheels are gold, after the Subaru STI rally cars.
It's funny. I just, for some reason, I never made the connection of Integrale, like as in your wheels, to the Delta Integrale.
Yeah, they're reps.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're high-end reps.
they're homage.
They're yes, homage reps. We're a whole new brand of reps now.
Homage and belay. Belay engine mounts. Anyways, yeah, Delta HF four-wheel drive also won the first two events in the 1988 season, Monte Carlo, and one in Sweden. Interesting. Anyways, so yeah, Saab, Integrale wheels.
This is happening.
Fiesta ST, Saab wheels.
If your wheels actually fit on my car,
and they drive,
that will look hilarious.
If either of our cars drive.
Yeah, if either of our cars actually make it to a functional moving down the road safely status with this wheel swap.
I want rolling footage, even like with a drone, like just with a drone going around your neighborhood at like 15, 20 miles an hour.
Oh my God. It'll just be the weirdest sight. Like, because although your wheels are meant to homage a 30-plus-year-old wheel design, I get that.
Sure.
They're still kind of modern in their own way,
They take the fundamentals of an old wheel design and they are, moderned up a bit. They're not actually old wheels.
Exactly. My Saab wheels, there's like no modern wheel comparison that looks like that. It very much looks its time period. So it's going to be that would be a funny sight on your car. I think that the Integrales, from a visual perspective, will look less out of place on the Saab than the Saab wheels will on your Fiesta.
I don't know, man. How many times have you seen a Saab 900 Turbo with a billion spokes on it that weren't wire wheels?
True. I don't even think I've seen it with wire wheels, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to Google to see if anybody has been a mad lad enough to put...
You're going to see Fox body swaps before you'll see Fiesta Integrale. Because Integrales on Fiestas aren't even common.
Yeah, I was curious. I literally searched Integrale wheels on Saab 900, like, and just to see if anything would pull up. Nothing, unsurprisingly. And it would have been funny if somebody had done that, and I was like, oh, so that's what it looks like. Now I got to see this in person. But no. And I can almost guarantee you'll be the first person to swap Saab Super Arrows onto a Fiesta ST.
Probably.
And
I cannot wait.
And that'll be even more funny, because then you have to post that on your Fiesta ST owners group.
Yes.
And see how much you get roasted.
Oh, I don't think I'll get roasted. I think people will be down, because there's a lot of show cars in that group too.
Fair, yeah.
And then post it on like the OEM wheels on OEM brand car, whatever group that is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
And I think in the Saab group I'll get two people at the exact same time, because the Saab community is almost exactly polarized between two groups. One group is the purists, and there's a lot of them. Go ahead.
OEM wheels on other makes and models is a group.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So in the Saab group, you have the purist side, and then you have the don't really give a fuck side, which has a couple spectrums inside it, but for the most part, they all kind of band together.
Yeah.
I imagine I'll get props from that side, and I'll mostly get like, oh, whatever, kid, go do whatever the fuck you want to do from the purist side.
Sure, like, yeah, I don't care.
Exactly. Because I even just pulled up the group to see if I could find it, and I found some mentions of Integrales. Like, one or two people have mentioned them, but nobody has shown a photo with them.
Well, those are probably actual wheels from a Lancia.
Yes.
Or Lancia. Mm-hmm. Lancia.
Yeah, and other than that, I mean, the Saab wheels are a weird group because they came with weird wheels from factory. So
oh, sure,
it's funny what people will throw on there.
I mean, who else aside from Saab was making 3 spokes from factory?
First gen Viper.
Okay.
There was several GM products,
like a Cyclone or something.
No, it was actually later than that. The Pontiac Bonneville, the Pontiac, it was actually mostly Pontiac. The Pontiac Aztec had some 3 spokes.
Yeah. The pinnacle of automotive design.
Yeah. Well, and what's even more, yeah, exactly. What's even more funny is there's actually a spin-off group from manual Elite Districts called 3-spoke Elite Districts.
Of course.
That is all about that. And like, I've gone through and seen what they are. There's a lot of either reps or like aftermarket stuff.
And that's why I mentioned OEM, because there are a lot of aftermarkets from that era, from the late 90s that were doing a lot of 3-spoke stuff.
Mm-hmm. But it is mostly Saab. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
Saab was I would say Saab was the iconic 3-spoke manufacturer.
Yeah,
because that was
that and Viper. I definitely forgot about Viper. That's also a big thing.
Yep. With the Saabs, it was mainly that I think probably about a third of their wheel designs were 3-spoke in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Past that, it died when the GM era. They got rid of
it died when the 90s ended.
Yeah, exactly.
They put away the drugs.
Yeah. I mean, it is Sweden. Who knows? They're pretty progressive. All that shit's legal. They're not the United States.
That's true.
Everything's good. But yeah, I would say that it's very likely that we'll get some interesting responses on both sides.
I would love to see that.
Just say, hey, we're doing an experiment. What do you think of these old deep dish Super Arrows on my Fiesta ST?
Yes.
I have no doubt you'll get a ton of like, holy shit, those are cool. Because to be fair, the design of my wheels with their deep dish, they are pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah.
Almost everybody that sees those wheels, regardless of what their taste in wheels is like, oh, those are sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, they command presence for sure.
Because the regular ones are just flat with regular 3-spokes are just flat with the edge of the wheel. Mm-hmm. But these with that good 3-inch lip is just like, that's
show you a 3-inch lip.
Like eat off of that dinner plate of a lip. It's lovely. But anyways, well, we've been going for quite a while.
In general, or?
Well, yes, in general and on the podcast. So.
Oh, cool. Well, let's wrap this up then. Bringing it back to kind of why we were here today. We're going to be doing weekly content. When that starts, we don't know. We will keep you informed. We need to kind of have a backlog first before just jumping into it. That's actually something I've learned with trying to do daily content at my job is you can't just start doing daily content and expect it to be posted in the morning.
No, it's daily content's not made same day.
Generally. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But we will be posting weekly once we start.
Yep.
It's just a matter of finding the right time for us to start and have enough of a backlog so we don't, go for a month or 2 months and then go, oopsie daisy, we don't have anything for the month, and then leave you all hanging high and dry. So that's not what we want to do. We want to just keep consistent and stay on it and drive some cool cars for you people to watch and hear about. So if you, for some reason, haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we are www.youtube.com/Exhibition of Speed.
Ooh.
Or you could just look up Exhibition of Speed, or even Google Audi 4.2 V8 and we pop up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Imagine that. So find us that way. Find our social medias. Mostly our Instagram is where we're more present, even though we're not present as much there.
Yeah.
Exhibition of Speed, all one word. If you want to send us a carrier pigeon, send us an email instead at mailbag.eos@gmail.com. And let's wrap this shit up. Until next time, I've been Gavin.
And I've been Justin.
And this has been the Exhibition of Speed podcast. Goodbye.